Hey everyone, Brobuscus here, and welcome back to another Let's Watch of Death Battle. Today's episode, we've got Kratos from God of War versus Asura from Asura's Wrath. Now, as always, there should be a link in the description below. You can go watch the actual episode yourself. Go support the official release before watching some random guy on YouTube react to it, okay? Got it? Cool. Like I've been saying at this point, the official releases could use as much support as possible. Now that they're independent. So please, God, go watch the official ones before watching any reaction videos, really, not just mine. Anyway, so obviously it's been a minute. Hi. Obviously this episode just came out today, so we're been on a little hiatus, but we're back now, and we got Kratos versus Asura, so that's gonna be sick. So how do I know these characters? Well, to be quite honest with you, there's a smudge on my computer monitor. Get out of here. That's not what I was going to be honest with you about, but what I was actually going to say was that I think everybody knows who Kratos is, at least, or at the very least has heard of God of War. Given the video game market today, nowadays, it's a little hard to say that you haven't, at least if you're somewhere in the gaming world. You know, both the recent God of War games, God of War Ragnarok, they are kind of like some of the top sellers on the PlayStation nowadays. So again, pretty hard to say that you haven't heard of God of War. Maybe you haven't heard of Kratos. Maybe you don't know anything about God of War, but you've at least heard the name before. It's a little hard not to. Yeah, I mean, okay, to be honest, I have not played a God of War game. So Discord is about to open for me. Please don't do that. Not right now. So I have not played a God of War game. However, I've seen enough like gameplay, let's plays, and whatnot to know what to have at least an idea of what to expect here. Like I said, I am a gamer, you know, for and I live on the internet. It would have been impressive for me not to see stuff from God of War. And Kratos, even though, like I said, I haven't played any of the games, he is a really cool character. I like him a lot. Just the juxtaposition between the original games and the newer ones. Like Kratos, like even though they're in the same like timeline, right? Like both versions of Kratos are the same character, but like they sure don't feel like it. And I get that that's the point, but I think that's kind of fascinating. And I'm curious to see how that'll be presented here. As for Asura's Wrath, well, I haven't played that either. And I have even less to say about it than I do God of War, because unfortunately, from everything I've read up on, Asura's Wrath is a game that kind of flew under a lot of people's radars, myself included. I'm not entirely sure what happened. I know it's a Capcom game, so there's that. But it's just, for as much as I see people online talk about how great this game is, to hear that it like flopped when it came out and didn't get the best reception when it came out, is kind of curious to me. And obviously it didn't perform very well, so Capcom just kind of threw their hands up in the air, said, "Oh, freaking well," and they haven't done anything with it since. It's kind of unfortunate, because from everything I've seen, it seems like a cool game. It's just not something that was it's just not something that kind of like stuck out to me when it came out. I guess I don't know. I haven't heard anybody talk about Asura's Wrath outside of like up until like a few years ago, outside of like having Asura be requested for a death battle. So unfortunately, I don't have a lot to say about Asura as a character. He seems kind of cool. He seems like one of those, you know, he seems like a very tragic character. I'm sure if I actually played Asura's Wrath, I would be a huge fan of the guy as a character. Unfortunately, finding a way to play Asura's Wrath nowadays is borderline impossible because, like I said, those games came out. I say that as if there was more than one. That game came out during the PS3, Xbox 360 days. I do not have a PS3. I have an Xbox One. From everything I've read up, it is backwards compatible, but I tried looking up copies for the Xbox 360 version on Amazon, and they are crazy expensive. So no, thank you. They're probably not even like that expensive. They're just not something I want to spend on a relatively older game. Especially for one that I was only really like. I was about to say that wrong. I was mostly interested in getting into Asura's Wrath to kind of prep myself for this battle. Obviously now the battle is out, and I still haven't played it, so I don't know if I ever will. But maybe this episode will convince me to play it. We'll see what happens. But on that note, actually, you see all the stuff on screen. You know, who do I want to win? Well, personally, I'm kind of okay with either of them winning. I'm not like super crazy invested in either character, but I am more familiar with Kratos, and I've heard of him first, and like I said, he's kind of an icon for a reason. So by that virtue alone, I guess I kind of have to root for Kratos for this one. But like I said, if Asura does win, then it will be far from the most devastating loss I will have, even after they went independent. Now, do I think Kratos is going to win? Well, that's the question now, isn't it? Because I know this fight has a bit of a history behind it for being kind of a touchy subject, I guess you could say. So I didn't do a lot of digging on either character for this fight. I was not in charge of researching either character for the podcast, so this is the most, I guess you could say, blind I'm going in to an episode since going independent. But from everything I've heard, it sounds like it kind of sounds like it depends on, I mean, obviously it depends on stats, right? But like, there's a lot of vague details on both when it comes to their feats that it's kind of hard for me as somewhat of an outsider to gauge who's stronger or faster. If they're equal, then I guess it could come down to like Kratos' versatility and skill versus Asura's like regeneration and adaptation. And in that regard, I honestly don't really have much of a clue. Most people I've talked to for this fight have said that Kratos probably wins this. So I think I'm just going to stick with that for the time being until the analysis proves me wrong, I guess. So yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. So I'm going to go with Kratos, both for who I want to win and who I think is going to win. With that in mind, this is a very long episode, so I think I should really just stop talking and start playing. So a lot more of the fight that they were showing
Kratos
off.
versus Asura.
The Ghost of Sparta versus the Wrathful Destructor. Because sometimes you just want to punch a god in the face. He's Wiz and I'm
Fair enough.
Broomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
It's kind of interesting that Wiz was doing the intro to the Boomstick.
The Primordials waged war across existence, a series of cosmic
I didn't read all that.
clashes that birthed the universe.
This is something about like
Now
the
that's
sources
what I
they're
call
using,
the
I
Big
guess.
Bang.
From Ceto's death, the oceans would flow. From Uranus's strikes, the stars were spawned, and so forth. Thus, the world itself was born from violence.
Sure.
Starting a whole messy cycle. Uranus was overthrown by his Titan son, Kronos, who was overthrown by his Olympian son, Zeus, who battled his own son, Kratos.
As a classic bastard child of Zeus, Kratos was left among Spartan mortals, far exceeding all among him.
This like
He
Sackboy
became
doesn't
a
want to talk
fierce
about it.
warrior, winning
I get
many a
that.
battle, until finally cornered by ruthless barbarians.
Ares, destroy these guys who are kicking my ass, and my life is yours. A deal was made, and Kratos was joined at the bone with the Blades of Chaos, a set of chain swords and basically a badass whirlwind of flame and steel.
But Ares had a scheme. While doing
Of
work
course
for
he
his
did.
god, Kratos accidentally murdered his own family, permanently marked by the ashes of his wife and daughter. He was, forevermore, the Ghost of Sparta.
So he was kinda understandably really pissed off. Time
I mean,
for
yeah.
a new god of war. The gods were crapping their togas in fear as the new god of war took out his rage on all of them. And got some new gear out of it too.
With Poseidon's trident and
Oh
Icarus's
my
wings,
God.
Kratos dominated both sea and sky. He also has a tendency to carry powerful severed heads, like Medusa's.
And the claws of Hades
And
could
Helios.
steal souls. Even the soul of Hades himself. Should have thought that one through, man.
Neither
Maybe.
Perseus or Hercules were a match for Kratos, nor was Helios, the sun god capable of moving stars and spreading light across the entire underworld.
He fought Atlas, the Titan of Strength, who broke the load-bearing pillar of the universe. So Kratos forced him to hold up the cosmos on his own instead.
And he could do it with just one hand, according to the novelization.
Even his grandpappy Kronos failed to stop him. You know, the guy who overthrew the primordial that punched the universe into existence?
Causing shockwaves that moved over a quadrillion times faster than light. A frankly incomprehensible feat.
Then there's Daddy Zeus.
Who
Well,
proved
it
a
is
serious
comprehensible.
challenge
You just-
until Kratos
you just
drew
calculated
perhaps
it.
his ultimate weapon, the Blade of Olympus.
It can make tornadoes, lightning, force fields. Oh, and it can stab the hell out of you. It siphons
You know, if the
godly energy
blade
and
part of
can
it wasn't,
pull enough to even kill Zeus.
wasn't enough.
Like father, like son.
Even while Kratos ultimately released hope across the Greek world, he could only do so after annihilating everything.
Like a badass.
Yeah.
He was unstoppable, non-stop killing and sex and even more killing. And yet, he couldn't be any more depressed.
His wife and daughter were still gone. What was he to do?
He didn't know. He wandered aimlessly for years, somehow stumbling into Norse mythology where he met Faye, his second wife. Good start, buddy.
Kratos had a new lease on life, but he could not escape his past mistakes.
There's a reason he hid his swords in a dingy basement. Even so, Faye insisted he could do better. So he became a dad to a new boy.
Easily the toughest task he ever undertook, especially
Yeah.
after Faye unfortunately died of a mysterious illness.
Damn it, not again! But hey, it wasn't.
Hey, at least he didn't
Kratos'
kill her.
fault. And Faye left the tools he'd need to keep the
That's
boy safe.
something, right?
Including the Leviathan axe.
Far from the whirling rage of the Blades of Chaos, the Leviathan axe was deliberate and mighty, said to rival Mjolnir itself.
Thor wishes Mjolnir was as cool as this axe. It's imbued with ice magic and a poison even the gods fear. It can be summoned to Kratos' hand from a distance, and it even shatters souls.
Kratos may have once
Oh.
had a sword of vengeance, but with his new weapons and a new purpose, he stood as a shield against the godly Aesir.
Too bad he just can't help but get in trouble with gods. But now
Yeah,
he
well.
knew how to control his anger.
Which is even more important than it sounds. Kratos' Spartan rage summons an inner strength with magical properties.
He can even get so pissed off that he straight up heals himself. That seems like the opposite of what should happen.
Not all Asura is problematic, and Kratos wields plenty of new weapons and relics to channel his rage through.
Like the Dropnir Ring, which can summon a bunch of wind spears. They can absorb all types of energy and blast it back. He even has relics and magic that can warp space and slow down time.
Naturally,
Yeah.
he contested with the strongest of the Norse gods, including the god of thunder Thor, who was powerful enough to fight the fire giant Surtur and the world serpent Jormungandr at the same time.
Oh, and that fire giant would be the cause of actual Ragnarok. You
Yep.
can't defeat me, Thor. I know, but he can.
Well, not exactly. Freyr, the rain god, held off Ragnarok for a considerable time on his own, and the sheer power of Ragnarok shook Yggdrasil down to its very roots.
That's the World Tree, which is like a literal tree that connects the whole universe.
According to Freya,
Yeah.
the tree's very existence supports all of creation among its boughs. Every strand transcending time, transcending space. Everything comes back to the tree.
So it's kind of like Kratos lives in a really, really, really big treehouse.
In his quest to
Sure,
free
you
the
could go
Norse
with that.
world, Kratos reclaimed
Fought
old
Shovel
weapons by
Knight to a
reckoning with his
standstill.
past sins, even taking up the blade of Olympus once again.
Even better, he actually got to be a decent dad. And now the boy is a man and also a bear.
Kratos made a lifetime of mistakes, but this future would be different. He'd be more than he was in the past, not just a god of war, but a leader, a father, and a defender, a god of hope. Long ago, a demigod fell from the heavens, only to rise from the depths of Naraka after 12,000 years.
After 12,000 years, he's free to punch everything dumb enough to get in his way. He was the demigod of wrath, Asura.
Alongside
It is
seven
honestly
other demigod
so
generals,
weird to see
Asura
him with
served as defender of
irises.
humanity
Put him in
against
Marvel
impure
vs.
Goma,
Capcom.
dark
True.
spirit monsters
Capcom.
infesting the world.
And the demigods battled the Goma by wielding a mystic energy formed from human prayer, mantra.
By advancing
At the very
technology
least,
with mantra,
like, port the
Guardian
game.
generals became essentially hyper-powerful mystic cyborgs. They could each harness mantra through a different emotional affinity. For August, it was greed. For Yasha, it was melancholy.
I'll give you one chance to guess what Asura's is.
By tapping into his wrath, Asura can take many forms for battle, like the six-armed Vajra, a state powerful enough to subdue the embodiment of the planet's will and the source of the Goma, Vlitra.
But he wasn't angry enough to put Goma Vlitra down for good. At least not yet. Of course, since he's literally powered by wrath, no enemy of Asura's would be stupid enough to do something that would make him even more mad, right? Right?
Funny you should say that.
God damn it.
Yeah.
First off, Asura is not some one-dimensional anger machine. In myth, the Asuras were powerful and aggressive beings, sure, but not inherently evil, just like Asura himself. He's a warrior, but also a husband with a daughter, Mithra,
And Mithra has the unique power to supercharge mantra energy.
which gave Asura's prideful commander, Deus, an idea. If he could
Great.
weaponize Mithra, literally wiring her up to a super weapon, the Guardian generals could maybe finally end Goma Vlitra for good.
Well, obviously, Asura wasn't gonna go along with that. So Deus framed Asura for killing the Emperor, murdered his wife,
You know,
kidnapped
like you
Mithra,
do.
and then just straight up killed him. What a
Yeah,
dick.
like
But
you do.
True to his nature, Asura was literally too angry to die. So long as a single part of his body remains and can possess mantra, he can climb back out of Naraka, a sort of limbo underworld between life and death. Thanks to some coaxing
That's
from
gonna
a
be important,
strange
I feel.
golden spider, he did just that, with an all-new purpose in mind.
Make the gods pay! Oh yeah, they're calling themselves gods now. Turns
course
out
they
they're
are.
all assholes who started sacrificing thousands of innocent people to try to power up.
Of
So
course
Asura
they
got
are.
Really, really, really pissed off.
And through his rage, Asura's power exploded, rising enough to throw giants like ragdolls, shatter whole moons, and destroy a fellow deity, Wyzen.
Who could dwarf the planet and wreck it with just a finger. Look at this!
Asura is so powerful, his soul cannot be manipulated by the Goma or the deities. He can propel himself with mantra to fly, harden his fists to break steel, fire explosive energy blasts.
And headbutt you so hard you wish you could die even faster. The dude literally stockpiles anger into a burst of energy that can one-shot even the toughest of foes. And when he goes unlimited mode, he can rapid fire those super attacks without overheating.
Asura's vengeance
Good for
quest
him.
wasn't all shouting and explosions, though. I mean, it was a lot of that, but he also tried to protect people from the gods, including a girl who very much reminded him of his own daughter.
Yeah, Asura's the kind of guy who wants to be a great dad, but all he knows how to do is punch anything that upsets his kid, like that one dad that knocks out a ref in a Little League game.
And then the gods killed that girl too, along with her whole
Yikes.
village, sparking Asura to unleash his berserker aura.
You know how the gods were sacrificing thousands of people to power up? Well, Asura got so freaking angry, he built up enough mantra to match them, even though they've been building up energy for thousands of years. Seriously, guys, you're pissing off the guy who literally gets more powerful the angrier he gets.
Yeah.
What do you think was gonna happen?
Yet even in berserker mode, Asura never lost total control.
Berserker Asura adds even more extra arms, and they're big and glowy now. The man can launch
Cool.
so much angry mantra, he wiped out the god's whole space fleet in seconds.
Asura's anger raised to levels so high even he couldn't contain it, scorching him into his wrath form.
Even though it hurts Asura while he's in it, this form is still perfect for absolutely shit-stomping a snobby demigod's face in. It's okay though, his brother-in-law punched the edge out of him.
Yasha saw the error of
Good
the
for him.
deities' senseless sacrifices and teamed up with Asura for a coup against Deus.
Awesome, they're bros again! Just in time for Asura to hit his former boss with so much mantra that he burst, then dive into the planet's core to obtain power equal to 1,000 arms, his mantra form. Finally, a power capable of killing Vlitra in a big planet-busting blast!
Deus was defeated and Gaia was saved. Yet, Asura's wrath hadn't been quelled.
Title drop!
It turns out that spider that guided him was actually Chakravartin, the creator of mantra and the entire universe.
And
Great.
everyone's suffering was part of his plan to make Asura his heir. Chakra kidnapped Mithra, because of course he did, and tested Asura in the form of a massive golden Buddha statue. Check out the size of it! That thing can literally hold a galaxy in its palm. Naturally, Asura and the statue threw hands.
Enter the mantra
course.
reactor. Capable of holding 7 trillion souls, Asura instead used it as a vessel for a far greater power.
His own unfiltered rage. At last, Asura could show the world his real colors.
Everyone from the humans to the 7 deities to Chakravartin saw Asura's anger as a weapon, a sword for tyranny, when that was never who he was. His rage was really a shield to protect humanity, and most of all, his daughter.
A shield larger than a planet! Unbound by his past limits, Asura's ultimate destructor form effortlessly punched through asteroids larger than nebulas, dodged planet-sized lasers moving 2 quadrillion times faster than light, and obliterated whole stars!
Chakravartin was understandably impressed and offered Asura
What did they
a
have
chance
Kratos
to
as
take his
again?
place. Asura smiled at the offer and extended his arm.
Right into Chakra's face, as if he was gonna let some god trample over more worlds. Instead, he literally beat the QTEs out of God, obliterating him and his plans in a cosmic explosion.
But with Chakravartin dead, so was the concept of mantra itself. Those who depended on it could not survive, including Asura.
Hey, as long as Mithra was fine, it was worth it. Besides, he'll reincarnate millions of years later, still
True.
kicking ass, ready to smack a random thug, a meteor, or Ryu, right in the balls.
It's interesting. Despite the dangers of uncontrolled anger, Asura's wrath gave him the power to
Title
save
drop.
everything. All because of just one thing.
Some bastard made his daughter cry, so they had to pay. Now that's a god I can get behind.
All right, the combatants are set.
Oh, I hate
We've run
that.
the data through all possibilities.
It's time for a dad battle!
Pause. Wow, we still got almost half of this video left. This is gonna be a long one. All right, let's talk about this real quick. This is a lot more interesting than I thought it was going to be. Man, I totally forgot what they had Kratos at for his speed. And granted, like, that was, like, almost 20 minutes ago, so it's like... but, just hit my mic. I didn't mean to do that. But, I think they're, like, roughly equal. Well, obviously not, like, entirely equal, but... I'm trying to remember if Kratos was at, like, it was it 2 quadrillion or was it 4 quadrillion? Because it was 4 quadrillion, then obviously Kratos is faster, but, I think it was 2. I could be wrong. I'll just say they're even for now. With that in mind, so I think Kratos is probably more experienced. I mean, Asura's like older, but he spent a lot of his like lifespan, you know, dead. So really not much of a lifespan, but you know what I mean. Meanwhile, Kratos, I mean, Kratos has died before, but like, I mean, in God of War, when you die, like you get sent to Hades, and then, in Kratos' case, he just leaves. So I think Kratos is probably more experienced than Asura. Probably more skilled too, because you know of all of his different weapons, and you know, more skilled and varied. Has more versatility in his arsenal, because Asura doesn't really have much of an arsenal. He has his fists. He has a lot of fists, to be fair. Like he can grow extra arms, but I think Kratos just has more to call upon than Asura. The thing is, for me though, is that I mean, I know Thor fought Jormungandr, but looking at Asura's like final form, the Destroyer form, or whatever it's called, it seems a lot bigger than Jormungandr. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. But, this feels like a tough one. Because it sounds like both of them could be like around the same ballpark of strength and speed. So, I mean, Asura has definitely shown a lot more impressive feats than Kratos, but I do wonder how much, because a lot of Kratos' arsenal does have more hackier properties. Like, I know they're soul removing, but I know Asura can resist soul manipulation or whatever. There was like slowing down time, which is good for, you know, a battle with equal speeds, or even speeds rather. There was one more, and I forgot what it was. Okay. You know what? I think I'm gonna stick with Kratos. I know usually when I'm placed in this situation, I'm just like, I'll just bet on the other guy. But I don't know. I feel more comfortable going with Kratos here. But I guess we'll see what happens. Oh, okay. So they did cut it down quite a bit. Oh. Now what's going on here? Oh, it's Mithra.
It's true then. The god of war is on Gaia. But not for long. You do not want this fight.
I guess he does. How did he even get here? That's what I'm wondering. I heard that sound. Ow. Well, so much for that building. Oh! Nice. Oh, he's flying. Ooh.
You let your wrath consume you. I have been down that road before. Shut up! Very well.
I like how Kratos at least tried to reason with him. No. Oh. Well, I've seen that happen before. Okay, now where are we?
This is not my end!
Okay, I gotta say, Chris Guerrero is really putting in the work as Asura here. Well, this seems familiar. Oh.
But you deserve a worthy end.
Unleashing a little bit of a little bit of Greek Kratos in that voice. Oh, there's the Blade of Olympus.
You are a monster no longer. I never was.
guessing poor Mithra. Yeah. Damn.
KO! Well, I guess Asura's wrath really is gone. But are we sure this is how it'd go? Even though Asura can blow up stars?
Asura had some amazing displays of apocalyptic destruction, but the full scope of their speed, experience, versatility, and power sheds a surprising light.
At first glance, speed seems like a shoo-in for Asura. Kratos is quick, but he never dodged a universe-crossing laser.
That doesn't mean he couldn't.
True.
Remember, as usual, we look at these characters at their peak, free from gameplay restrictions.
Yeah, we're looking at everything in canon, and Kratos fought and killed Helios, the sun god.
From the moment he's introduced, Helios is emphasized to be immensely powerful. Without Helios, darkness would shroud everything. His light was fast enough to illuminate the entire underworld while Kratos sailed through it, taking a few hours at most.
So, kinda hard to quantify, but that's consistent with the shockwaves the primordials caused that spawned the universe.
Arguments could be made for which is faster, the primordial shockwaves or Chakravartin's intergalactic lasers. Since it's so close, it's safest to assume their speeds are generally even.
But what does speed matter if you don't know how to use it? Let's cover experience. Asura lived across centuries, obviously a lot longer than Kratos.
And while Kratos eventually learned to control his rage, Asura pretty much always had that control.
So Asura easily takes experience. But when it comes to versatility, he couldn't match all the weapons and abilities Kratos had.
Yeah.
Sure, Asura's quite skilled and a monster at martial arts, but his fighting style mostly relies on one thing.
A whole lot of punching.
Kratos' weapons, magic, runes, relics, and even his rage gave him far more options in combat, slowing down time, healing injuries, and most importantly, multiple weapons that could drain a variety of energies, like mantra.
Yeah, when Asura loses all his mantra energy, that's it for him. So the Dropnir spears and the Blade of Olympus gave Kratos exactly what he needed. Versatility. And multiple ways to finish this for good before Asura just comes crawling back out of the underworld.
If he could. Asura's resurrections take years or whole centuries, days at best.
But all this assumes Kratos could match Asura's crazy strength. All roads lead to power, which should go to Asura, right? Look at what he can do! If this came down to who made the bigger kaboom, he'd kick Kratos' ass in 2 seconds.
But a closer examination of their feats reveals the truth.
At his peak, Asura overpowered Chakravartin, annihilating that cosmic golden god.
By measuring the dimensions of Chakravartin's body and scaling it up to match the size of this galaxy-eclipsing statue, we can determine its volume. Add in the density of gold, for good measure assuming the form is solid throughout, and its mass far exceeds not just our galaxy, but our entire observable universe.
Destroying that big golden god would need energy on par with obliterating our universe 91,000 times.
Extremely impressive and unfathomable. However, the same idea applies to Ragnarok shaking the roots of Yggdrasil.
Ragnarok is obviously a bit of a different beast than Kratos, but what really matters is what Freyr did.
Right, Freyr, a god comparable to Kratos, held back Ragnarok's power for a significant time.
So Kratos should be capable of the same level of power, or even more.
Using an official map and knowing the world tree's branches encompass all of existence, we can measure its size and volume.
And we know this map is accurate because it shows these two realms conjoined, which we see in-game.
Even if we assume the Tree of the Realms is only 1% solid, a significant lowball that Kratos should easily scale above, shaking such an incomprehensibly large structure would require enough force to destroy our universe's mass energy 9 million times over.
That's almost 100 times greater than Chakravartin's destruction. And this isn't some one-off outlier. I mean, a realm-shattering supergiant doesn't sound too different from the other Titans and Olympians Kratos defeated.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's easy to think that we never see Kratos do anything that matches Asura, but we do. Helios' speed matches Chakravartin, and Kratos outsped him. Atlas is strong enough to lift all of reality, and Kratos overpowered him. Kronos defeated the creator of the universe in a one-on-one fight, same as Asura, and Kratos killed Kronos. Add in the clear numerical comparison of Chakravartin, Ragnarok, and Yggdrasil, and Kratos takes the edge in power.
But hey, Capcom, if you give us Asura's Wrath too, we'll try this again.
That'd be pretty awesome.
Sure as the sun rises, the god of wrath was Kratos.
The winner is Kratos.
But What if?
Mm.
And that concludes my pitch for Asura's Wrath 2. The end. Next time on
Okay.
Death Battle.
I should know what this is, yeah. Yeah. This battle's gonna be sick.
Subscribe and join
Ghost
as a
Rider
member to
versus
see more
Spawn.
Death Battle. Thanks for watching.
Okay, definitely was not expecting the alternate ending there. I mean, I guess that makes sense to have, but it was nice though. You know, it was sort of a like a what if Asura did win, I guess. I don't know. I like that. I'm worried about how people are going to react to that though, because now it's going to be like, well, can we get that for every episode? Probably not. So don't get your hopes up. I kind of imagine Devil just like animated that and then they were like, well, we don't want it to go to waste, so also I just realized, did we not get the advantages and disadvantages screen at the end? I just realized that. Hold on. Or did I just completely miss that? Like the comparison screen. I don't think we got it. That's weird. Wonder why. Maybe they just forgot. Maybe they just forgot. I don't know. Still cool. That was a cool fight. A lot more low key than I was. Maybe not. Maybe low key is not the right word. I guess cinematic. Yeah, let's go cinematic. Which I mean that fits, right? Like, but yeah. I mean, it was still cool. It was still fun to watch. Nice to see both of them get the respect they deserve. I hope everybody who's a fan of both these characters got what they wanted out of this one. Yeah, I don't really unfortunately I don't really have a lot to say on this one. I will say the voice actors were fantastic. Both actors did a great job. Especially I have to especially shout out Chris Guerrero. I did that during the fight, but I have to do it again because my God. I mean, I imagine anybody who voices Asura is gonna have to go through like energy like that, right? But Chris nailed it, and that's no disrespect to Kratos' actor either. Hussein Muhammad, I think that I probably butchered that name, but anyway, he did great. He sounded a lot like Christopher Judge, and later on, but near the end, kind of brought out a little bit of T.C. Carson in him. I think it was good. I think it was neat. And Yeah, it was just good. I don't know what more you want me to say on this. I will say the one thing that is probably my biggest critique on this one, and it was like, it doesn't stop me from really enjoying the fight, but it's something that I was kind of noticing all throughout. I feel like a lot of the movement was a little stiff. The effects make up for it, and just the really, I mean, really everything else made up for it, but when it was like more low key, when it was when there wasn't a huge action thing going on, I felt like the movements were just a little stiff for my liking. But it's not that big of a deal. Like it's something that I noticed pretty much throughout most of this fight, and it's something that was kind of like in my mind I was like, this is okay. But it was still, it was still a really fun watch, and that's really all I can ask for these death battles. And then, I mean, I guess I usually talk about the next time first. I guess I just forgot this time. Oh well. Yeah, Ghost Rider versus Spawn. That's gonna be awesome. So just to clarify, when I said that I knew what it was gonna be, that's because this fight was revealed at MagFest, and I obviously kept up with that. So I didn't go to MagFest, but I did. I did ask, hey, let me know. Especially since if it was a fight that I was like gonna get invested in, if I wanted to research it, then I would want the extra time. And I'm glad I got it, because I've been researching that for a minute, and since I heard it was announced, and I was like, there's a lot to go through, that's for sure. But should be fun. We saw, I mean, in typical fashion, we saw a little bit of it at the end, didn't we? Yeah, I'm guessing this is it. Okay. That's gonna be cool. That's gonna be a cool fight. And obviously seeing both of them again is gonna be cool. I mean, Spawn's last episode was against Kratos. They had to do that on purpose, right? Like, that. I don't know. I just think it's funny that like both Kratos and Spawn's original episodes were against each other, and now here they are. Kratos has his episode, and then the next episode is Spawn again. That had to have been intentional, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm going crazy. Anyways, well, I think I've said all I need to say, and this video is going on pretty long as is. So I need to wrap this up, get this video uploaded, and then go back to research. I'm only slightly going insane. Thank you for asking. So with that in mind, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoyed my reaction to this episode, and I will talk to you all in the next video. Bye, everybody.